Hi, it's Dr. Steve from Misericordia University, and welcome to Professional Clearances for Teaching Candidates, part of the Teacher Education Program. In this video session, let's take a look at how you can apply for professional clearances, and also how you can upload those clearances to the TED Clearances Blackboard page so the professionals at Misericordia can access them for your field purposes. It is important in our program to apply for and to upload professional clearances as soon as possible. That's because it's required to have these clearances in place to participate in any field experience. So if you don't have them early enough, that may delay your field experience. And if your field experience is delayed, that may even set you back in terms of which classes you can take. So let's begin by taking a look at what do these clearances mean. The first one we'll consider is Act 24. That's the Arrest and Conviction Report. The purpose of this clearance is to verify that you have no arrests or convictions. And what it means for us is it's just a simple form. You just read the form, sign it, and date it. Let's look at Act 34. That's the Pennsylvania State Police Criminal Record Check. And its purpose is to verify that you have no criminal background in the state of Pennsylvania. To apply for this one, you complete an online form, you pay a small fee, and right then and there, for most people, it will allow you to print a certificate of clearance immediately. In some cases, it may hold you for a day or two if there's more to be considered. Act 151 is the Child Abuse History Clearance. And the purpose of this is to verify that you don't have any history of child abuse. Now, this one's a little more involved. We have to set up an account online, and then we log back in and we fill out the form, and ultimately you log back in when the clearance becomes available in order to print out the certificate. Act 114 is the Federal Criminal History. So this verifies that you do not have any federal criminal background. So how do you apply for this? Well, we complete a form online, we set an appointment, and part of what we do for this clearance is we get fingerprinted electronically. Now realize all these clearances are required not only for teaching candidates and TED students, but also for professionals in the field. All these clearances are renewed each year except for the last one, the Federal Criminal History. That one is normally one and done for your 4 years at the institution. However, there are certain school districts who will say that they want to have a fresh copy of that. But before you would, as you sign up for that field, before you would actually go out in the field, we would warn you that in order to complete field in that location, you'll have to renew that. Otherwise, the federal criminal is once and done. To apply for the TED professional clearances, first enter the Blackboard course named TED Clearances. If you're not a member of TED Clearances, please speak to me or speak to your advisor or any other officials in TED, and we'll make sure that we get you added to this course. So when I enter TED Clearances, I click on Course Content, and here I can find some important pieces. First of all, you'll see there are important documents and resources to find, like the TED Guidebook. There's also how to apply for professional clearances. When I open that link, I find that I can see some policies and so on. I can see some links down here to link directly to these different clearances. And also I see instructions how to apply for clearances. So when I open that, I'll just blow this up a little bit so I could see it better. Here you can find specific instructions and links and costs, if there are any, to all of these different clearances. So when I scroll down, you'll see that there are certain service codes that are needed, certain passwords, and anything that's listed and is needed for applying for these clearances will be located here in this document. After I view the instructions as to how to obtain the clearances, the next step is to see how to upload them. So I'm going to close that link, and here you'll see a link called Upload Background Clearances. And here you'll see a link to each of the clearances that we need to upload. Notice one of them is mandated reporter training, and that training is something that we do once during our 4 years at the institution. Another one is TB testing. So TB testing is required every year. Most of the clearances are updated every year. The only one that typically is not is, well, of course, the mandated reporter, because that's training, that's once. And then the other one will be the FBI clearance, and that's the one that involves fingerprinting. So with any of these clearances, I'll just select Act 24. First of all, make sure that you're looking at the correct one and place them in the proper location. So Act 24, you'll see there's no due date listed. Notice it's going to say how many points. Now really, the number of points, remember this is Blackboard. It's going to be looked upon here, it's the setting of Blackboard, a learning management system, as if it's points toward a grade. But we don't use it this way. Once you upload your clearance, we're going to evaluate and see what month is this going to be expiring. So here it says 12. If it says 12, that means it's been evaluated and in December it expires. If it says number 1 for number of points, that means in January it will expire. So when I come in and I verify if it's Act 24, it's that paper I'm going to fill out, I'm going to click on View Instructions, and then here are the instructions one more time, and then all I have to do is upload this. So I'm going to look for the attachment, and I would go out and I would find wherever I had that and say that document and say open, and it would now attach here. When I look at all of these different clearances, in some cases I'll be able to create a PDF format right on my computer. In some cases, if you print it out, then you could take a picture of that, or you could scan it and upload that. So again, here are all of the different clearances where we say to upload. Here's all the different clearances, and make sure you have selected the correct one before you upload it. Remember that all clearances except for the FBI fingerprinting clearance are renewed once a year. So when do you have to have those clearances uploaded? Well, clearances have to be valid through the end of the field experience to which you're applying. So let's take a quick look at each semester. In the fall semester, we register in October, and in October when we register for classes, we're registering also for a field that will take place during the spring semester. So in October, make sure that your clearances are still valid through the end of April or the very beginning of May. That's the end of the spring semester. And in the spring semester, in March, we register for a field during the registration for classes. So we're looking at a fall course and field. So that field will go through maybe the very beginning of December. So if you're in the fall, make sure your clearances are at least good through the end of April. If you're in the spring semester registering, make sure that your clearances are valid at least through the end of December. Remember that after you submit your clearances to TED Clearances Blackboard page that professional staff in TED will mark your expiration date for each of your clearances. And that'll be placed in the grading field, because remember, this is Blackboard and it's a learning management system. So we're going to use the grading field as the date that particular clearance expires. So once again, if your grade was listed as a 9, that means that someone has already looked at that and it's the correct clearance, and the month of September is when that particular clearance will expire. Now, a unique case would be if you receive a grade of 0, and that means that it's either unreadable the way you scanned it in, or it's unacceptable for some other reason. Many times it's simply because you took the Act 24 clearance, let's say, and uploaded it to the fingerprinting one by mistake. That's normally what causes that to happen. So don't forget that the grade for clearances is really the expiration date. You're now ready to obtain your professional clearances if you haven't already done so. And you should now also be ready to upload your clearances to the TED Clearances Blackboard page. If you need any help in either obtaining or uploading the clearances, please talk to me, Dr. Steve, or Betty Ann Duffy, the TED Administrative Assistant, or to your advisor. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you on campus.